Covington City Manager Richard Douglas joins us today to speak briefly about a proposed $8 per month increase in trash charges for residents of the city of Covington. And there's also a proposed commercial rate increase, isn't there, sir?
Yes.
And what will that $8 a month go towards?
It goes towards all aspects of the operation, and we have created for the first time a solid waste management operations fund. It's an enterprise fund. We're treating solid waste just like we are water and wastewater. So
it's totally separate from the standard general budget.
It's totally separate, and it accounts for all charges related to solid waste, from the collection of the trash to billing to the landfill and all the disposal costs, and closure and post-closure costs that we're required to maintain funds for. So it's an accurate accounting of all costs. This has been a long process over the past year and a half to figure out what we were going to do long-term with solid waste. We ran out of space end of last year with the current cell that we had. We looked at a wide range of options. Going to Allegheny County, going to other regional partners, and for the dollars and for long-term stability and having the availability of space, we determined that we would expand our current landfill. So
you have one new pod or whatever you call it up there, another new space ready to go.
It's being used right now. It's a new cell. So.
And isn't there also room for yet one more if you decided to?
Yes, a smaller one. So we'll determine what we do in the next few years. We have 10 to 14 years of capacity in this current cell. So the good news is, unless there are drastic changes in the amount of solid waste coming into the space or for other reasons, we should have stability in solid waste over the next decade. And if we had not expanded our landfill, I could not have guaranteed we'd have that. Now, I do want to note, in partnering with Bath County, that has provided a significant more inflow of solid waste and therefore revenues to help offset these costs. So again, we try to do everything we could to minimize these costs while yet be responsible for planning for the future, setting money aside for closure, covering our debt costs for the cell construction and the equipment, and doing everything that's involved with maintaining a regulatory compliant landfill operation.
And you just upgraded the equipment at the landfill.
All of the equipment was worn out, and we made the decision, if we were going to be in the landfill business, we were going to be in the landfill business. Now again, everything we do, we try to be very conservative and prudent with those expenditures, but everything we buy are essential pieces of that operation. And as I mentioned at the council meeting this week, DEQ did an on-site inspection. They were very, very pleased with the direction we're going in, the results that have been made compared to some of the inspections that had been done in prior years. So we're trying to ensure to the public that we have a reliable, cost-effective as possible option for solid waste.
You mentioned at the city council meeting that rain events cause the city all kinds of problems because you have leachate from the landfill, and that must be treated. So could you briefly tell the public, I mean, that was a pretty intense situation where you're having to make sure the tank didn't overflow and therefore cause you problems with DEQ. Can you explain to the public what that involved?
Well, when we get heavy periods of rain, and we've had a couple of these events since the cell opened in December, the landfill, we don't call Peters Mountain landfill for nothing. It's on top of a mountain. Beautiful location, but the water runs off the mountain. There's a lot of exposed soil with the new cell that's been constructed, and of course that was finished in the winter. Some of that will take care of its place with correcting some erosion problems, getting vegetation to grow on the banks and so forth. But it just is what it is. When we have that much rain hit the cell, it's got to be diverted to this storage tank, and we have to take every measure possible to make sure we keep that from overflowing. So we've been working overtime with some of our staff and some contractors to haul virtually nonstop during these rain periods. Over the weekend, we had 3 trucks nonstop going back and forth between the landfill and our wastewater treatment plant.
And then it has to be treated just like any other wastewater prior to going back into the Jackson. And by not doing so, you can subject yourself to substantial DEQ sanctions, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. Not only, I mean, there's various sections of DEQ, there's water quality, and then there's the sanitation and so forth, and it's nothing we even want to even try to take on. I mean, we need to do the right thing and maintain regulatory compliance, and our staff really stepped up this past weekend, as well as they had in a couple previous occurrences earlier in the year.
Thanks for explaining that. We appreciate it.